Morning. And welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Rosalind Woodward, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a member of this congregation, and one of the ways that I volunteer here is as worship associate, helping to lead services along with our ministers. Today, I'm joined by the Reverend Kelly Crocker and the friends, Stephen Gregorius, and special thanks to all those volunteering in many roles today: greeters, ushers, hospitality providers, lay ministers, sound technicians. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. The Moses Gala to celebrate and support Madison organizing in strength, equity, and solidarity, the community organizing group of which our congregation is part, is coming soon on December the 14th. Members of our criminal justice reform team will be in the Commons after the service and would love to talk to you about the event if you'd like to know more. For those connecting with us virtually today, we're glad you're here with us, and we hope you'll be able to take this moment and watch the announcement slides after today's service to learn about upcoming programs and activities. And now I invite you to join me in a moment of silence to center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community. To all who are yearning for community, welcome and come in.
To all who are just getting to know this place, to all who long to build deeper connections, to all who come here with tender places needing care, welcome and come in.
To the ones who have healed and have care to give, for those who are curious and hungry to learn, for those who know that they have something to teach, welcome and come in.
For the ones who are just beginning to suspect they might nurture others' becoming, to the young and the old, the innocent and the jaded, the fresh of mind and the deeply steeped, there is room for each and everyone here. Welcome and come in. And we invite you now to rise in all the ways we do, joining in our words of affirmation as we light our chalice. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames we rise. And we invite you now to take a moment to turn and greet those around you.
Good morning. Let's sing together our opening hymn, number 349, We Gather Together.
To come up closer for the story, to come on up. How was your week? What did you think of that snow? It was nice? Huh, not what I said. What's that, Thea? You're sad it only lasted a couple of days. It feels like spring to you today? It's early spring? Okay, we're really confused if it's early spring. Okay, wait a minute. If it's early spring, we've got these lovely fall arrangements. We just sang about Thanksgiving, and now I'm going to tell you a story about Christmas. I am so confused. What's up, Cleo? Yeah. It was super nice, and then it was super snowy. And I just need to know, for my own sake, how many parents woke up that morning and said, "Do you have any boots that fit?" Please tell me I was not alone in that early morning panic. Thank you. Solidarity, parents who were like, "Why are your snow pants suddenly 7 inches too short?" I am so grateful I'm not alone. Well, I have a story for you that it's a little early in my book to be talking about Christmas, but it is a story from one of my favorite TV shows that's called The Repair Shop. And do you see that doll up there? It's a story about that doll. So on this, you'll be able to see the shop and the many people who work there. That's what it looks like inside, not as a cartoon, but it really does look like that. And this is a story of one of the items that came to them for repair, a Christmas doll. So settle in. It's a little bit of a long one. Yeah.
Every time, like, when I went, do you know what Hy-Vee is?
Hy-Vee? Yes. We're not sponsored.
When I went to Hy-Vee and Target, why do they just decorate it Christmas themed? They're literally just skipping one holiday.
Good question. I was at Marshall's the other day, and it was like being in 2 continents or 2 states at the same time. I had one foot on this side of the aisle, and it was all Thanksgiving, and one foot on this side of the aisle, and it's all Christmas. I feel like we skipped Thanksgiving, so I'm sorry I don't have a Thanksgiving story for you today. What do you need to tell me? I need to tell this story. People are going to leave. Yeah? I know. They put Christmas stuff up before Halloween. I am not okay with this. You know what I also don't like? When they do back to school stuff in June. That is dirty pool. You know, you gotta let you have a little break here between these things. So here's a somewhat-y Christmas story for you. So today was the day, the special day that Evie and her great-grandma Sue had been waiting for. Evie slipped her hand into Grandma Sue's as they walked through the snow toward the repair shop. "I can't wait for them to meet Lizzie," she said. "Neither can I," said Grandma Sue. "Hello, I'm Jay," said the man behind the table. "I'm Susan," said Grandma Sue, "and this is my great-granddaughter Evie." Jay smiled. "What have you got for us today?" "We've brought you Lizzie," said Evie. Grandma Sue reached inside her bag and lifted out a doll. She was beautiful, but her nose was chipped, her head was cracked, and her stitching was coming apart. "This," said Jay, "is a very lovely doll. Can you tell me about her?" Grandma Sue smiled. "I would love to," she said. "It was snowing that day, too, so many years ago." She closed her eyes as she remembered. It was 1939, and England was at war. In London, the chilly winter wind whipped around me as I stood on the train station platform. "You will be safe in the country, away from the war," Mother said. "I will miss you terribly, but I can't let you stay here." "I don't want to go," I whispered. I hugged her tight and tried to breathe in her scent. "Remember, I love you," she said. "Hurry now. I will see you soon. It won't be long before you're home." The train whistle blew, and I clambered aboard. I knew it would feel like forever. I clung to my little bag of things. Just a change of clothes and a toothbrush. That was all I had now. Many children squeezed into the train car, but I never felt so alone. The train pulled out of the station away from my mother and my home. The train huffed and puffed and huffed and puffed through the countryside, past trees and hills, forests and villages, until finally it came to a halt. My heart thumped as I was taken to meet my new family. What if they don't like me? What if they don't want me? I really want to go home. "Hello," said a man with a kind face. "We're Mr. and Mrs. Russell." They smiled, but I couldn't meet their gaze. My heart was broken, and I thought, I will never smile again. "We are so pleased that you are here," said Mr. Russell. "Let me show you to your room," said Mrs. Russell. I felt heavy-hearted as we edged up the stairs, but when they opened that door, I saw the most beautiful room. It was all for me. For the first time in a long time, I smiled. And as the days rolled by, I began to feel a little more at home. Autumn turned to winter, and then it was Christmas Eve. Mrs. Russell tucked me into bed. I felt safe and cozy, and the worry in my heart melted away, and I drifted happily off to sleep. And then it was Christmas morning. I sat up, rubbed my eyes. I gazed in surprise at what I saw at the end of my bed was a present. It was wrapped in beautiful paper. Was this for me? I had never had a present before, and I wasn't sure what to do, but I couldn't resist. So with trembling fingers, I unwrapped it, and there inside was a doll. She had brown hair just like mine. She had dark eyes, and she had a frilly dress. I'm going to call you Lizzie. That day, Lizzie went with me everywhere, all around the house, out into the yard, and I showed Lizzie to everyone. But as Christmas Day came to a close and the dark sort of settled around the house, I wondered, is Lizzie really mine to keep? She couldn't be. So slowly I went downstairs. I was cuddling Lizzie as long as I could. I went over to Mrs. Russell and I said, "Thank you for letting me play with her." And I offered Lizzie to her. "Susan," she said, "she's your doll to keep now and forever, with love from us." "Really, for me?" I asked. And then all I could do was hug Mrs. Russell as tight as I could. I ran back upstairs to my bedroom with my heart pounding, smiling all the way. As Lizzie and I looked outside at the snowflakes, I said, "This is the most magical Christmas ever." The days flew past. Lizzie and I did everything together. But things couldn't stay the same, and the day came when I had to return to London. I should have been happy, but instead, I was kind of sad to say goodbye. "Thank you for everything," I said as I hugged Mr. and Mrs. Russell one last time. "I will think of you every time I cuddle Lizzie." And every day for all these years, that's what I did. "I still think of the Russells and their kindness," said Grandma Sue. "But I've cuddled her and loved her so much that over time, Lizzie has become damaged." "But you can help, can't you?" asked Evie. "She's very special," Jay smiled. "We're going to do our very best." These are the teddy bear ladies, Amanda and Julie. Lizzie is going to be in their very capable hands. "We can see how special she is," said Julie, "and we're going to take good care of her." "Thank you," said Grandma Sue. So the teddy bear ladies worked hard to repair Lizzie. Their quick, clever fingers stitched and painted and mended and glued until at last their work was done. What do you think? Do you think they fixed her? Yeah, this is kind of my favorite part of the show. A week later, Evie and Great-Grandma Sue went back to the barn. "Hello again," said Jay. "Are you ready to see Lizzie?" Grandma Sue and Evie held hands, closed their eyes, and nodded. "Here you are," said Jay as he lifted the cloth. And there was Lizzie, just as she remembered. "Thank you. This means so much to us." "You are very welcome," said Amanda. "She's an important part of your family history." Grandma Sue looked at Lizzie and then turned to Evie. "Evie," she said, "I think it's your turn to be Lizzie's guardian now. I know you're going to take good care of her." She handed Evie the doll, and Evie hugged Lizzie and said, "I will. I really will." And that evening, Evie looked out her bedroom window, holding Lizzie tight, just as another little girl had done so many years ago. "This is the most magical Christmas ever," she whispered. And from the bedroom doorway, Grandma Sue smiled. And then we can see the repair shop at night when everybody goes home, the teddy bears and Lizzie and all the things they fix. So I love this show. If you've never seen it, it's a fun one to watch. The best part of it, I think, is the story that comes with the item, because you get to hear about people's history and you get to hear about their memories. And that's really the thing about all these objects, right, that we take care of. It's really the stories and the people that matter the most. So we are going to sing you out to class. Thanks for listening to that story. Have fun. Yeah.
Oh, you can make the world so bright, and you can turn the day from night, and share your gifts and spread your light, and learn what you know. Now I invite you to rise in body and/or in spirit so we can sing together hymn number 323 in the gray hymnal or on the screen, "Break Not the Circle." Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiving and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it
This morning's inspiration is by Rachel Naomi Brayman. This is the story of Tikkun Olam, as told by Rachel Naomi Raymond. In the beginning, there was only the holy darkness of Ein Sof, the source of life. And then, in the course of history, at a moment in time, this world, the world of 1,000,000 things, emerged from the heart of the holy darkness as a great ray of light. And then, perhaps because this is a Jewish story, there was an accident. And the vessels containing the light of the world, the wholeness of the world, broke. And the wholeness of the world, the light of the world, was scattered into 1,000,000 fragments of light. And they fell into all events and all people, where they remain deeply hidden until this very day. Now, according to my grandfather, the whole human race is a response to this accident. We're here because we are born with the capacity to find the hidden light in all events and all people, to lift it up and make it visible once again, and thereby to restore the innate wholeness of the world. It's a very important story for our times, and this task is called Tikkun Olam in Hebrew. It's the restoration of the world. I've been thinking a lot about how aptly this story captures the work ahead of us. We're here to contribute to the reparation of the world, to the restoration of the hidden light in all things and all people. We don't have to do it all. We just have to do our part. How? By identifying our role, our capacity, and our purpose, and being true to it. Yes, the world is shattered. It is broken. And yes, each of us has a part to play, restoring it back to wholeness.
Let me set a rather idyllic scene for you. On a historic living museum in the south of England sits a thatched roof barn. Inside this barn, it's timber cladding on display, expert craftspeople behind workbenches which are filled with much loved tools and the prized possessions of ordinary Brits. This is the home of the Repair Shop, a British TV series where precious family heirlooms are brought for restoration. Now in its 13th season, each episode features 2 to 3 projects in need of repair. These are not just any objects, as we learned in the story of the Christmas doll, but these are deeply meaningful pieces of one's family history, a connection to the past and the holders of cherished memories. Some of these items are complicated to fix, requiring expert knowledge and experience to repair with integrity. The craftspeople who work on these items do so with great care, skill, and sensitivity to not only the object, but to the story and the person who has left this beloved item in their hands. At the end of each episode comes the favorite part. You get the big reveal of the repaired, priceless possession. You also see the response of the person who brought it there. There are always tears, smiles, amazement at how a treasured gift, once broken or thought to be beyond repair, now matches the image in their memory. In the opening credits of the show, host and upholstery repairer Jay Blade says, "Nowadays, things are not built to last, so we've become part of this throwaway culture. The Repair Shop is all about preserving and restoring." How many of us have said time and again, they just don't make them like they used to? Whether it is the dishwasher that you have replaced for the second time in 10 years, or the shirt that you just bought that immediately tore at the seams, we all understand that our culture has favored the cheap, the quick, the replaceable over well-crafted goods. But it is not just electronics and clothes and stuff that we have deemed better to replace. If the election showed us anything, it's that the throwaway culture has impacted our relationships too. It is hard not to listen to the reasons why people voted the way they did and feel that the majority of voters decided to throw away the inherent worth and dignity of so many in pursuit of tax breaks, nationalism, cheaper groceries. When faced with the choice to love through our differences, our fellow citizens, sometimes our mothers, fathers, siblings, friends, chose rupture. In the days and now weeks that followed the election, many of us gathered here felt a deepened sense of despair, a sense of hopelessness and fear and grief. In his book, Consolations, the poet David White wrote, "Despair takes us in when we have nowhere else to go, when we feel the heart cannot break anymore, when our God disappoints, when our world disappears. Despair is the invitation we accept when we want to remove ourselves from hurt, a last protection. But despair is also a necessary and seasonal state of repair, a temporary healing absence, an internal physiological and psychological winter when our previous forms of participation in the world can take a rest. Despair is, he says, surprisingly, the last bastion of hope." I've returned to David's words again and again and held on to them like a life raft, this idea of despair as a seasonal state of repair. Now, in the repair shop, there is an exchange between the owner and the craftsperson. And as always, this story of how the item came to them and how it came to be broken. Sometimes the item is broken because it has been loved very well, but not with great care. Other times it's been broken through accident or neglect. Whatever the cause, the conversation never centers around fault. Instead, the owner speaks of the object's meaning and their hope for restoration. In this conversation, the craftsperson listens for the story to understand how to repair and how to achieve the owner's vision. It is this story element that shapes how the craftsperson approaches the technical elements. Their skills and mastery are undoubtedly critical, but if they are not listening to the meaning, they may miss an important part of what the owner needs in relationship to the repair. This was made clear in an episode where a young woman who had recently lost her father brought in a writing box that he left her. She recounted the stories of seeing her father using this box to hold his wallet and keys every day when he came home from work. She retold the stories of his childhood when he first found the box among his father's items, and he had taken a nail to scratch his initials on the small brass plate on the top. These scratch marks were precious to her. If the show's master carpenter hadn't been present to her story, he might have chosen to remove the initials in order to restore that box to its original pristine condition. Instead, he chose to polish the brass, making sure to leave the scratch marks intact. When the young woman returned to collect the writing box, she was astounded at how beautiful it had been repaired, and she was delighted to see that her father's initials remained. To be a repairer, a craftsperson in the art of mending, we first must hear the story. And not simply the story of how something or someone came to be broken, but also the story that came before. We must listen for the meaning and what is hoped for now, even if it feels insignificant to us. Any attempt at repair without first listening could create more damage. Repair requires us to look closely, to look beyond a passing glance, to approach someone familiar to us with new eyes, as if seeing them for the first time. If we approach as though we are an expert on the person or the relationship we share, we can miss what repair work can teach us about another and ourselves. Psychologists would tell us that repairing a rupture in a relationship is one of the most growth-promoting and healing aspects of the therapeutic process. To repair rather than discard a relationship is an act of courage, respect, generosity, forgiveness, virtues fundamental to well-being. The art of repair is the antithesis to a throwaway culture. The relationship experts, Julie and John Gottman, have spent decades studying repair and what it takes in the context of intimate relationships. And they have found that couples that they call emotionally connected couples, they don't make fewer ruptures in their relationship, but rather they make ongoing repairs. They are willing to admit responsibility for their part in the conflict so that healing can begin. They realize the relationship is more important than the problem at hand. The Gottmans looked at over 3,000 couples. And one thing they discovered is that the elegance of the repair attempt, how fancy it was, didn't really matter if both partners were not open to repair. Now, in one study, they observed a chemist and his wife talking about the nature of his work. The husband was simply saying he didn't understand when he would be home that day, that it was hard with what he did in the lab. It's hard to know what time he'd be able to be home for dinner. And his wife says, well, here's the problem. The kids get hungry. They don't want to eat dinner without you. So they get irritable, and I'm the one stuck here putting up with cranky children. And his response was, well, why don't you feed them a snack? And her response was to look at him with a look of astonishment that says, do you really think I don't know what I'm doing here? And she simply said, of course, I give them a snack. And in that moment, with the obvious look and the obvious tone, he knew that a repair was needed. So he simply smiles this big, goofy grin. That was his repair attempt. Nothing elaborate, nothing fancy, just this big, ridiculous grin. And she started to laugh. It was effective. What the Gottmans observed was that successful repairs rely on the groundwork that happens before the rupture. What matters is the foundation on which the relationship had been built over time. Partners who had been emotionally connected leading up to the rupture We're more likely to be open to attempts at repair, even if the repair is nothing more than a big silly grin that without words admits, I have made a mistake. Repairing doesn't simply start at that moment of rupture, but it is in all the small acts of kindness that are built into a relationship before it. But we need to pause for a moment and acknowledge that repairs in relationship are not always possible. Sometimes it is because one person is not open to repair, to taking responsibility for the harm caused by their words or actions. Sometimes repair isn't possible because the rupture is abuse. We would never ask the spouse or the child on the receiving end of emotional, physical, mental abuse to be the one to repair a relationship, even if the person committing the harm has sought forgiveness. We cannot confuse repair with reconciliation. In some situations, asking for repair may be an act of injustice. As we heard from Rachel Naomi Remen, in Judaism, repair isn't simply between individuals. Tikkun olam is the Hebrew phrase for repairing the world. It is a concept that, while it has shifted over the centuries, lies at the heart of the Jewish tradition. Tikkun, repair, and olam, the world, means to do something with the world that will not only fix any damage, but will also improve upon it. The word olam also means hidden. So a deeper meaning of tikkun olam is to repair the world in such a way that the Creator is no longer hidden within, but shines through everything and everyone in magnificent, harmonious beauty. For Jews, tikkun olam is the responsibility of every person, and to be met with a sense of urgency, because one small deed could bring the world to the resolution for which it has yearned since its creation. The way you eat and what you eat, the way you treat others, the commitments you make to family and friends, all of these are means of tikkun olam, bringing the world yet closer to its ultimate state for which it was created. As Unitarian Universalists, we are steeped in a tradition of justice. I remember the first UU congregation I ever entered. It had a sign in the lobby that said, "We don't care about what happens when you die. We worry about how you live today." This is who we are in our bones. With love at the center of our work, we fight for justice and equity, keeping ever present our steadfast belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, including and especially those on the margins of society. What would it mean for us if we saw ourselves as craftspeople working to repair, so that the world becomes a place where the beauty of each person can shine through? And what would it mean for us to see our community here as a repair shop, a place where you can come in need of repair, where your story is heard, where you can look at the wounds, name the fears, feed your soul, welcome another in, and create with them a home. Rest, maybe for just a moment, dream, imagine, sing. Do the healing that must happen to stay in the work for justice. The Irish priest and poet John O'Donoghue wrote "A Blessing for a New Home." And I have often thought that this prayer feels like it is a blessing for us here as well. He says, "May this house shelter your life. When you come home here, may all the weight of the world fall from your shoulders. May your heart be tranquil here, blessed by a peace the world cannot give. May this be a place full of understanding and acceptance, where you can be as you are without the need of any mask, pretense, image. May this home be a place of discovery, where the possibilities that sleep in the clay of your soul can emerge to deepen and refine your vision for all that is yet to come to birth. May it be a house of courage and repair, where healing and growth are loved, where dignity and forgiveness prevail, a home where patience of spirit is prized, and the sight of the destination is never lost, though the journey be difficult and slow. May there be great delight around this hearth. May it be a house of welcome for the broken and diminished. May you have the eyes to see that no visitor arrives without a gift, and no guest leaves without a blessing. What would it mean for us to become a home of courage and repair, where everyone is seen and known to be a gift, and everyone leaves with a blessing? In so many ways, our world has lost its care and compassion for one another, especially for those in the LGBTQ community, BIPOC folks, women, disabled, and the poor. I haven't wanted to admit the depth and the breadth of the rupture, but the world is in fact broken. In this moment in our history, we as Unitarian Universalists must broaden our understanding of justice to be acts of repair, to see ourselves as agents of healing, not in the sense of reconciliation with those who've consciously and knowingly chosen harm for the sake of their own gain, but agents of repair and healing for those whose safety, identity, whose lives are now under threat. We must repair for them a place where they are valued, loved, protected, cherished, a place where they are restored to their full humanity and celebrated. We must become a place where healing and growth are loved, where dignity and forgiveness prevail, a home where patience of spirit is prized and the sight of the destination is never lost. May this place be a house of welcome for the broken and diminished. Friends, this is the moment we face. We are called to be craftspeople in an age of repair, to open our hearts, our hands, our resources to mend the broken lives and communities around us. Listen to their stories. Listen to the needs. Find with them that last bastion of hope in a time of despair. So let us get to the work. Let us get to repairing and loving the hell right out of this world.
Thank you for feeding my British musical heart. I invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering, which supports the ongoing work of this community and the work of our outreach offering recipient. This week's recipient is Wilma's Fund. It's a program of outreach LGBTQ+ community center, offering emergency financial assistance to LGBTQ+ adults in Dane County. Wilma's Fund was founded in 2011 by Donald Haar, a former employee of the Salvation Army and drag performer who goes by the name of Wilma Flynn Stone. Donald recognized that LGBTQ+ people often face additional barriers when accessing support for homelessness or housing insecurity, and saw ways to help. There are multiple ways to share your gifts in this morning. Baskets now passed here in the auditorium for cash or checks, or you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org, and you'll see on the screen our new text to give information. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
Good morning. My name is Carol Stang, and this is Connie Beam. We both serve on the board of the First Unitarian Society Foundation, and we thought the Sunday before Thanksgiving would be the perfect time to share some wonderful news with you and give thanks for the life of Betty Jane Bamforth.
Betty was an active member of FUS for many years. Now, through her trust, she has left a gift of nearly $1 million to the FUS Foundation. Already this gift is providing and will forever provide annual financial support to this congregation.
Betty was born in Connecticut in 1923. A groundbreaker from the start, Betty earned her medical degree from Boston University in 1947 and came to Wisconsin for a residency in anesthesiology. She joined the UW School of Medicine faculty in 1954. For 38 years, she served as a physician, teacher, and mentor, achieving many firsts. Betty was the first female director of the Department of Anesthesiology and the first female mentor for the medical school. She attained national and international prominence for her writing and lecturing on the history of anesthesiology. She was the first woman to deliver the American Society of Anesthesiologists' most prestigious lecture.
But wait, there's more. In addition to her professional accomplishments, Betty was passionate about sailing, athletics, gardening, ornithology, ecology, economics, and philanthropy. She was the first woman Commodore of the Mendota Yacht Club and served on the UW Athletic Board, as well as the boards of the Arboretum and the Altrusa Club. At First Unitarian Society, she served as treasurer of our foundation from 1983 until 1995.
The positive impact that Betty made in the 78 years that she was on this earth is felt every day through the gifts of time and talent she gave to the people, the profession, and the issues she cared deeply about. Bamforth House, one of 5 houses that cultivate community, well-being, and professional identity among UW medical students, was named for Betty after she established a research professorship in the Department of Anesthesiology. And now, 23 years after her passing, the gifts Betty made through her trust came to fruition.
After she passed in 2001, Betty's trust provided lifetime financial support for her sister Jean. After Jean passed in 2023, Betty's trust assets were given to her most treasured charities. The FUS Foundation is one of those charities. Betty's gift has been placed into our Stonehaulers Fund, as she specifically asked that her gift be used for the maintenance of our buildings. At a time when we are faced with so many challenges, Betty's generous gift is helping us ease the way into the future.
If you knew Betty, please come and talk to us after the service. We'd love to know more about her. If you'd like more information about the foundation, please visit with us after the service or visit our website on the FUS website. You can find us under the Giving tab.
We end with a prayer for Betty and for all those who work together to make this world a better place. We are so very, very thankful.
Thank you, Connie and Carol. Each week we come together carrying with us in our hearts the joys and the losses of our days. We share them here, knowing they are held gently in care and support and love. Today we light a candle in honor of the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which occurs each year on November 20th. With this flame, we call to mind all those of every age, race, faith, gender experience who have died by violence. We remember those who have died because they would not hide or didn't pass or did pass or stood too proud. Today we honor them all, the reluctant activist, the warrior for quiet truth, the one whom no one knew. We honor those who can be named and those who cannot. We mourn their senseless death, and we give thanks for their lives, their wisdom, for the brief glow of their holy flame. And if you will join us in a moment of meditation with words from J.J. Flagg and Victoria Safford. For just a moment, sometime today, let the November air mess with your hair, caress your face, as it has since you were small, as it will as you grow old. All is not lost. Breathe in life and breathe out again. Breathe more. This is your life and our life together, you and I, and all the beloveds at risk now as never before, humans and trees, rivers and land, animals, children, birds. Breathe in love for them. Breathe in love for us all. Breathe protection, resolve. And when you are able, when you are ready, whenever you can, breathe out a prayer of hope. You know this and must not forget. Still and always we are held within, and we comprise a larger love. We are held within, and we comprise the mighty persistence and resistance of our ancestors, the urgent laughing beauty of our children. We are held within, and we comprise a holy and ferocious power. Spirit, breath moves through us still, inspiring, insisting. Any act of love we undertake will be a revolution. Take a breath, taste the wind, drink the rain. Remember who you are and whose. The beloveds who know you by your name, who expect great things of you, which is to say that you will keep on keeping on, never alone, with all your dignity shining. Breathe deep and notice who is hurting, who is in danger, who needs your prayers of hope and more than that in order to survive. Hold out your brave and loving hands, stronger than you know, your brave and beating heart, and do not under any circumstances let go of beauty and truth. Do not let go of faith and hope and love. We are held within and comprise a holiness no tyrant can diminish or demean. We are always, always held in love. Blessed be, and amen.
Now I invite us all to rise in body and or in spirit so we can sing together our closing hymn, number 1017, Building a New Way.
Stronger every day.
Bless generously, curse rarely, practice repair. Lean into comfort zones, strengths, and inklings of bliss. Pause to ask whether words are both skillful and absolutely necessary. Sing full-throated songs that create and recreate beloved community. Let go of stubborn self-righteousness and have mercy. Honor the ancestors who could not have imagined our lives or even our very being. Smile, multiply joy, divide sorrow. With the tools at hand, practice repair. Perhaps I have tools you could borrow, and perhaps you can lend me from yours, and together we can practice repair. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.